All right, again, we're looking at the standard form, which looks like this, ax squared plus bx plus c. The parts that you're going to need to use in order to find your vertex, okay, you can't just look at this one and tell like yesterday. We have to do a little bit of work. You're going to need to know your a value, the number that's in front of your x squared, and then you're going to need to know your b value, and that's the number in front of x, okay? So the first thing that we're going to have to do is we're going to use this little formula right here. And that should, I think, is already written on your paper. That's already written, right? Okay. So we're going to use H equals, you do the opposite of B, okay, or negative B, over 2A. And you're going to simplify that, and that will find us the H value of our vertex. Okay, so opposite of B over 2 times A, you simplify, that gives us the H of our vertex. Then, after you do that, you're going to plug in the H value that you found for X, and you're going to solve it for Y. Remember, f of X and Y are the same thing. So we're going to take that H value, we're going to put it in place of X into our function, and we're going to solve it for Y, and that gives us the K value of our vertex. A is still going to determine if our parabola opens up or down. If A is positive, it opens up. If A is negative, it opens down, just like it was yesterday. And the only reason we really look at that is to make sure we graphed it correctly when we're finished. Is everybody ready? Okay. So let's start with number 1. We're going to practice finding the vertex, and we're going to determine whether it opens up or down, just like we did with the first 4 yesterday. So what I want you to do first is identify what your A value is and what your B value is. Remember, A is the number that is in front of your x squared. B is the number that is in front of your x. So what would my A value be here? 1, okay. And then what is B? -6, okay. Again, A is in front of x squared, B is in front of x. Everybody ready? Okay. So we're going to do the opposite, okay, or negative, and then B, but my B happens to be negative, so I'm going to put that in a parenthesis so I don't mess that up. Over 2 times my A value, which we said was 1. Okay, again, the formula for H, how we find H, is we do the opposite of B over 2 times A. So what is a -6? Okay, that's 6. And then 2 times 1 is 2, and that reduces to be 3. Okay, so for my vertex, the H value or the X value, whichever one you want to call it, is going to be 3. Is everybody okay there? Okay. Now I'm going to erase that work because I don't have space and I need to keep it so we have it on the video. So let me erase this. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this function, the x squared minus 6x plus 4. Everywhere there is an x, I'm going to put in a 3. And I'm going to work that out. Keep in mind your order of operations. If there's anything inside parentheses to simplify, you do that first. Then we do exponents. Then we do multiplying or dividing, which you won't have any dividing in here, just multiplying. And then you do your adding and subtracting. So I don't have anything inside of my parentheses that need to simplify. So I'm going to go, what is 3 squared? 9. Minus, what is 6 times 3? 18. And then plus 4. And then I'm going to just work that out. 9 minus 18 is -9. And -9 plus 4 gives me -5. So the K value of my vertex is -5. So basically the same as yesterday, except for we have to just do a little bit of work. We can't look at the function and tell what our vertex is. And then we just need to determine, is it going to open up or open down based on our A value? Is my A value positive or negative? Positive, so this thing is going to open up. Are you okay with that one? I want you to try 2. Okay, go ahead and start working on trying to find the vertex of number 2. The A value is the number in front of x squared. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Okay, start working on number 2, trying to figure out what your vertex is. That's the most important part. If you mess that up, that's going to mess up the entire graph. Negative b, or opposite of b, over 2 times a. So for my vertex, let me just take that and simplify whatever that is. What is A for number 2? Negative 3. Okay. What is B? 6. Okay, so we're going to go the opposite of B over 2 times A. What's the opposite of 6? Okay. And then 2 times negative 3 is, and negative 6 over negative 6, or negative 6 divided by negative 6 is positive 1. Is everybody okay with that part? Okay. Now, we have to be careful when we plug this in, especially in this one, because my A value is something other than 1. So when I plug it in, it's negative 3. That 1 is going to be the only thing that is squared. Okay, that negative 3 is being multiplied by the x squared. Plus 6 times 1 plus 2. So again, order of operations first. We have to do parentheses, which I don't have anything to simplify inside of. Then I need exponents first. So that negative 3 is going to stay. What is 1 squared? 1. Okay. And so negative 3 times 1 just gives me negative 3. And then what's positive 6 times 1? 6. So then I have to simplify that. Negative 3 plus 6 is 3. And then 3 plus 2 gives me 5. So the K value in my vertex is 5. And then again, I'm focused on A. Is A positive or negative? Negative, so this thing is going to open down. Is everybody kind of okay with that one? Okay, go ahead and work on 3 and 4. Find the vertex and tell me if it opens up or down for both 3 and 4. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. it's negative b, not negative a. So what's your b here? What kind of a? So then yes, you place a negative. So number three, yeah. Oh, number one, yeah. Because your a is a positive one, so it's opening up. Was to do the bottom first was 2 times 1. And was negative 8. So your h value in your vertex will be 4. And then you're going to take from here, and you plug it in for x. Whatever that simplifies to, gives you the value of your vertex. So you look at the a value. A is the number of x squared. If it's positive, it is x. If it's negative, it is y. No. So you did negative first. Oh, so I did this one. So, because the b is negative, right? So it's the opposite of negative, which makes it positive. Yeah. So yeah, it's got a negative in front of it. Yeah, so it's the opposite of whatever the b value is. It's negative. Yes. So that'll change your k value. Yep. You have to be very, very careful with your signs here. One error with your sign can mess up the whole vertex. What is A in number 3? 1. And what is B? Negative 8. Okay, so again, to find your H value is going to be the opposite of your B. Okay, so the opposite of a negative over 2 times my A value. What is the opposite of negative 8? Positive 8. And 2 times 1 is 2, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. Okay, so for my vertex, the H value is 4. And then we're going to take and plug that into our function. Everywhere there is an x, I'm going to put a 4. So it's x squared minus 8 times x plus 14. What is 4 squared? Okay. And then negative 8 times 4 is a negative 32 plus 14. If I do 16 minus 32, that gives me a negative 16. And negative 16 plus 14 is negative 2. So the k value in that vertex is negative 2. And then my A is a positive 1. So is this going to open up or open down? Up. I'd be very careful with your signs. If, like, for example, if you had said that that was a negative 4 for your H, it was going to give you a whole different value for K, which is going to mess up your graph completely. So just be extra, extra careful there. Is everybody good with number 3? All right. For 4, what is A? And what is B? Okay. So we're going to plug it in. It is the opposite of B over 2 times A. What is the opposite of negative 4? Positive 4. What's 2 times negative 2? And 4 divided by negative 4 is negative 1. Okay, so for the vertex, the H value is negative 1. Then I'm going to plug that in. And again, be careful. That negative 2 is outside. The only thing that's going to get squared is that negative 1. Starting with my exponents, what is negative 1 squared? 1. Okay, I'm just going to kind of show all my work real quick. Then I can multiply. What's negative 2 times 1? Negative 2. And then negative 4 times negative 1 is a positive 4. And then plus 1. Negative 2 plus 4 is 2. And 2 plus 1 is going to give me 3. And then the A value in this case is negative 2, so that means it's going to open down. Other than finding the vertex, when we go to graph, it's going to be identical to what we did yesterday. Okay, so let's start with number 5. Start working on finding your vertex. Okay, looking at number 5, the very first thing we want to do is what we just did for 1 through 4, find our vertex. Again, to graph, the only difference in what we did yesterday versus what we're doing today is we have to actually do the work to find our vertex first. Then you plot your vertex, you pick 2x values to the right, 2x values to the left, work it out, get your matching y values, plot your points. You should be able to look at the function and determine if my graph is supposed to be up or down, just so that when you graph it, you can double check your work. Okay, so again, you have to square it first before you oh, there's no. Okay. What's negative 2 plus 5? You just added one. That's all. Yeah, you planned everything incorrectly, just added one. Okay, we're finding our vertex first for number 5. Number 5. Once you have that, you can plot your point. Pick your 2x values to the right, your 2x values to the left. Plug those in, find their matching y values, then you should have your parabola. Remember, it's always a U shape, not a V. Not any other kind of curvy stuff. It has to be the shape of a U, whether it's right side up or upside down. If you struggle with plugging the numbers in to your function to simplify, You can use a calculator, enter it exactly as it looks with your parentheses and all. It should give you the correct answer. Okay, if you're making mistakes there and you want to keep from hitting those, use a calculator and see what you're entering in the screen. What is A for number 5? -2. What is B? 4. Okay. So to find H, remember it is the opposite of B over 2 times A. What's the opposite of 4? -4. And what's 2 times -2? -4. And -4 divided by -4 is +1. Okay. Then I'm going to plug that +1 into my function everywhere there is an x. Square the x first. Just showing all my work here. Then multiply. -2 times 1 is -2. 4 times 1 is 4. Then plus 5. -4 plus 2 is 2. 2 plus 5 gives me 7. Did everybody get the vertex of 1, 7 for number 5? So let's plot that point. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. I'm going to come over to the other side for my t-chart. Okay, think about your vertex. It is that the x value of your vertex is 1. What would the next two numbers to the right be? 2 and 3. And then the next two numbers to the left would be 0 and -1. And again, we're plugging those in each time to see what y values that we get. Squaring first before you do anything else. What's 2 squared? 4. Again, if you would like, you can learn how to do this, entering it exactly as it is in the calculator, and it will simplify it for you. If you keep making mistakes, if you're not sure how to do it with a calculator, I can show you. Now we multiply. What's -2 times 4? -8. Okay. And then 4 times 2 is 8. And when I add all that together, what do I get? I get 5, right? So the y value for my 2 is 5. And we're going to do the same thing here. 3 squared is 9. -2 times 9 is -18. 4 times 3 is 12. -18 plus 12 is -6. -6 plus 5 is -1. What do we know about the other two y values? What are they going to be? The same, right? So if I plug in 0, just think about this. If I put 0 in here, that makes that whole thing disappear, right? And if I put 0 here, that makes the whole thing disappear. So what would the thing be if I simplified it? 5, which means for -1, my y value should be -1. It's the same. Again, if you're not comfortable plugging it in, grab a calculator. Let me show you how to do it. Let the calculator do the work for you. Now I'm going to plot each one of my points. 2, 5. Whoops. 3, -1. 0, 5. 1, -1. Is my graph supposed to open down? Yes. Everybody kind of okay with that? All right, try 6. We might not get through all of these, but. I can't see where it says clear right now, so I just cleared it and then told it to clear it. Just like we did yesterday. Okay, we should be working on number 6. Again, if you would like to be able to simplify all of that in a calculator, grab a calculator and let me show you how to do it. Use the tools that you have available. That's a quick way to do it. That way you don't have to. Did you change your change that? And then if you're writing that in, so change that to and then this one. This one. Change this to me? Yeah, because you plugged in 3 here and you got negative 3. But you're going to also have to pick different values here. What is A? 1. What is B? Negative 6. Okay, so for H, we're going to go the opposite of B over 2 times A. What's the opposite of negative 6? And 6 divided by 2 is 3. Okay, so for my vertex, the H value is 3. Then I can plug that in. Everywhere there is an X, I'm going to put a 3. 3 squared is 9, minus 18, plus 5. That's negative 9 plus 5. That gives me a negative 4. Did everybody get a vertex of 3, negative 4? So 3, negative 4. So again, think about your vertex. You're at 3. What are the numbers right to the right of 3? 4 and 5. And then what would the numbers to the left be? 2 and 1. So we got to plug in 4 first. 4 squared is 16 minus 24 is negative 8 plus 5 is negative 3. Is my mental math correct on that one? Okay. If I plug in 5, it's 25 minus 30 is negative 5 plus 5 is 0. So what should I get when I plug in 2? Negative 3. And if I plug in 1? 0. So 4, negative 3, 5, 0. Is my graph supposed to open up? Yes. Is everybody kind of okay with those? Okay. We only have like 9 minutes left. Do we feel comfortable though? I can quit here and we can just get the homework. I mean, we can do more if we want to, but